Hi, good day all. We are IPMI Executive MBA students.
I'm Benny Halim.
I'm Astrid Tanggara.
And I'm Suhendi.
We would like to discuss a very interesting topic on our podcast today.
Oh, what's the topic, Pak Benny?
Our topic today is about gender equality.
What do you have in mind if we heard about gender equality?
Gender equality means that everyone, regardless of their gender, should have equal rights, opportunities, and responsibilities in all areas of life, including education, employment, politics, and family. When gender equality is achieved, individuals are able to pursue their dreams and aspirations without being limited by their gender. Women and girls are empowered to participate fully in social, economic, and political life, which contributes to their personal development and the overall progress of society. Gender equality does not require that girls and boys or women and men be the same, or that they be treated exactly alike. In fact, gender equality cannot be achieved for the most part by providing everyone the services, opportunities, and protection delivered in the same way. Gender equality also has a broader benefits for societies, such as reducing poverty, improving health outcomes, promoting economic growth, and fostering social cohesion. When women are empowered and have access to resources and opportunities, they are more likely to invest in their families and communities, which can lead to positive social and economic outcomes. Furthermore, gender equality is a fundamental human right and is enshrined in various international agreements and conventions, such as the Universal Declarations of Human Rights and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women. In summary, gender equality is beneficial for individuals, societies, and the world as a whole, and is a fundamental human right that should be promoted and protected.
What's the history of gender equality?
The history of gender equality is long and complex, spanning centuries and continents. Throughout history, gender has been a defining factor in shaping societal norms, beliefs, and values, and has influenced how individuals are perceived and treated based on their gender. One of the earliest recorded examples of gender equality can be found in ancient societies, where men were typically considered superior to women and held positions of power and authority. For example, in ancient Greece, women were excluded from political and public life, and their primary role was to bear children and manage the household. Similarly, in ancient China, women were expected to be subservient to men and were not allowed to participate in politics or education. However, there have also been many examples throughout history of individual and movement that have fought for gender equality and challenged traditional gender roles and stereotypes. For example, in the 19th and early 20th centuries, the suffrage movement in many Western countries fought for women's right to vote and participate in politics, which paved the way of greater gender equality in other areas. In the mid-20th century, the feminist movement emerged as a powerful force for change, advocating for equal rights and opportunities for women in all areas of life, including education, employment, and politics. This movement helped to raise awareness about the ways in which gender discrimination and equality were limiting the potential of women and girls, and inspired many legal and policy change to promote gender equality. Today, the fight for gender equality continues, with ongoing effort to address persistent disparities and inequalities in areas such as pay, education, and representation in leadership positions. While progress has been made, there is still much work to be done to ensure that gender equality is reality for everyone, regardless of their gender.
What is the challenge of gender equality?
Gender equality is a complex and multifaceted issue that presents many challenges, both at the individual and societal levels. Some of the main challenges of gender equality includes deep-rooted cultural and social norms. Gender inequality is often deeply ingrained in cultural and social norms, which can be difficult to change. For example, traditional gender roles that assign men and women to different spheres of activity or beliefs that women are inferior to men can limit the opportunities available to women and perpetuate discrimination and inequality. Discrimination and bias. Women often face discrimination and bias in all areas of life, including education, employment, and healthcare. Discrimination and bias can take many forms, including pay gaps, exclusion from decision-making process, and limited access to resources and opportunities. Lack of representation. Women are often underrepresented in leadership position and political office, which can limit their ability to influence decisions and policies that affect their lives and communities. Violence and harassment. Women are at higher risk at experiencing violence and harassment, both in public and private spaces. This can include domestic violence, sexual assault, and street harassment, among other forms of violence. Intersectionality. Gender inequality often intersects with other forms of discriminations such as race, ethnicity, and socio-economic status, creating even greater barriers for marginalized groups. Resistance to change. Some individuals and groups may resist efforts to promote gender equality either due to lack of understanding or due to a desire to maintain their status quo. Addressing these challenges requires a comprehensive and sustained effort involving both individuals and institutions. This can include legal and policy changes, education and awareness-raising initiatives, and effort to empower women and girls to become leaders and agents of change in their community.
What is the benefit of gender equality for company and society?
Gender equality can provide many benefits for companies and society as a whole. Here are a few examples benefit for companies. Improve business performance. Studies show that companies with greater gender diversity in their leadership and workforce tend to perform better financially and have higher rates of innovations and productivity. Enhance reputations. Companies that prioritize gender equality are often viewed more positively by customers, employees, and investors, which can enhance their brand and reputations. Access to a broader talent pool. By promoting gender equality, companies can attract and retain a diverse pool of talented employees, which can help them stay competitive in an increasingly global and diverse marketplace. Increase employee engagement. When employees feel that they are working for a company that values diversity and promotes gender equality, they are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and productive. Benefits for society. Reduce poverty. When women have equal access to education, employment, and resources, they are better able to lift themselves and their families out of poverty, which can have positive ripple effects for communities and societies as a whole. Improve health outcomes. Gender equality can help to reduce gender-based violence and improve access to healthcare and improve health outcomes. Gender equality can help to reduce gender-based violence and improve access to healthcare and reproductive rights, leading to a better health outcomes for women and girls. Greater social and political stability. Societies that promote gender equality tend to be more stable and peaceful, as women are able to participate more fully in political, social, and economic life, and contribute to the development and progress of their communities. Enhance economic growth. When women have equal access to education, employment, and resources, they can contribute to economic growth and development, which can benefit society as a whole. In summary, promoting gender equality can provide many benefits for companies and society, including improved business performance, enhanced reputations, reduce poverty, improve health outcomes, greater social and political stability, and enhance economic growth.
What's the difference of gender equality and equity?
Gender equality and gender equity are related concepts, but they have different meanings. Gender equality refers to the idea that all individuals, regardless of their gender, should have equal rights, opportunities, and the treatment under the law and in society. This means that men and women should have the same access to education, employment, healthcare, and political participation, among other areas of life. Gender equity, on the other hand, refers to the idea of fairness and justice in the distribution of resources, opportunities, and benefit to individuals of different gender. This means that resources and opportunities should be distributed based on the needs and abilities of individuals rather than on their gender. Gender equity recognizes that men and women have different needs and experiences, and that addressing these differences requires tailored and targeted intervention. For example, achieving gender equality might involve policies and initiative aimed to eliminating gender-based discrimination in education and employment, ensuring equal pay for equal work, and promoting women representation in leadership positions. Achieving gender equity might involve providing targeted support and resources to women who have historically faced barriers to education and employment, or addressing cultural and social norms that limit women's opportunities and choices. In summary, gender equality and gender equity are related concepts, but they have different meanings. Gender equality focuses on equal rights and opportunities for all genders, while gender equity focuses on fairness and justice in the distribution of resources and opportunities based on individual needs and abilities. The global movement toward gender equality is having a significant impact on families and parenting, particularly in countries where women are gaining greater access to education and employment opportunities. One of the impact of gender equality on families in that women are increasingly delaying childbirth or choosing not to have children at all. This is because women are now able to pursue careers and other interests before starting a family, and they may also want to have greater control of their reproductive choices. This trend is particularly pronounced in developed countries, where women have greater access to education and career opportunities, such as in Europe and North America. Another impact of gender equality on families is that men are taking on a greater role in child care and household responsibilities, as women have entered the workforce in greater numbers. Men have had to step up and take on more responsibility for child care and domestic duties. This had led to greater sharing of household tasks and a more equal distribution of responsibilities within families. Overall, the impact of gender equality on families is complex and multifaceted. While some families may be experiencing change in traditional gender roles and expectations, others may be embracing new opportunities and more equitable partnership. Ultimately, the movement toward gender equality is helping to create more diverse and inclusive families, and is enabling individuals to make choices and the best reflect in their own needs and aspirations. The movement for gender equality at the global level is so massive, especially in developed countries. But in developing countries, less respond. It is true that the movement for gender equality is more advanced in some developed countries than in many developing countries. However, there are several ways to promote and advance gender equality in developing countries. Education. Education is one of the most effective ways to promote gender equality. By providing education to girls and women, we can help them to gain knowledge and skill, which can increase their economic and social opportunities. Education can also help to change cultural attitudes toward women and girls and promote gender equality at the individual, family, and community level. Economic empowerment. Economic empowerment of women is another key factor in advancing gender equality. This can include promoting women's entrepreneurship, increasing women's access to credit and financial services, and supporting women's participation in the labor force by increasing women's economic opportunities and financial independence. We can help to reduce poverty and promote gender equality. Legal and policy reform. Legal and policy reform can help to promote gender equality by ensuring that women have equal rights and opportunities under the law. This can include reform to family law, labor law, and property rights, as well as policies to promote gender equity in education, healthcare, and political participation. Community mobilization. Community mobilization can help to promote gender equality by engaging community members in discussion and activities that promote gender equity. This can include community-based awareness campaigns, peer education program, and community dialogues and gender issues. By engaging communities in the promotion of gender equality, we can help to create more supportive environments for women and girls. International cooperation. International cooperation can also help to promote gender equality in developing countries. This can include financial and technical assistance for gender equality programs, support for legal and policy reform, and advocacy for women's rights at the global level. In summary, promoting gender equality in developing countries requires a multifaceted approach that includes education, economic empowerment, legal and policy reform, community mobilization, and international cooperation. By working together across sector and across border, we can create a more just and equitable world for women and girls everywhere. We can create a more just and equitable world for women and girls everywhere.
What about gender equality in Indonesia?
Gender equality in Indonesia has ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women 22 years ago through Law Number 7 of 1984. In the course of implementing CEDAW, the Indonesia government realized that discrimination against women was still strong in all fields of development. This discrimination threatens the achievement of justice and gender equality in Indonesia. In 2000, the former President of the Republic of Indonesia, Abdurrahman Wahid, issued Presidential Instruction Number 9 of 2000 concerning gender equality in development. It is hoped that national development will integrate a gender perspective from the process of planning, drafting, implementing, monitoring to evaluating and utilizing the result. To strengthen the legal umbrella for gender equality, in 2006 the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Child Protection drafted a draft government regulation on gender equality. From a philosophical aspect, Pancasila as the philosophy of the nation is the philosophical basis for the importance of the KKG law, especially the second precept of Pancasila, just and civilized humanity, and the fifth of Pancasila, social justice for all Indonesian people. The just and civilized humanity principle contains the meaning that justice applies to every human being. On the other hand, the government of Indonesia has signed a global agreement document on Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG, or the government's official term is the Sustainable Development Goals, or TPB, which consists of 17 goals and 169 targets. In the TPB, there is one goal: to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal 5 of SDG on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls has 5 targets, namely 1. End of all forms of discrimination. 2. Eliminate all forms of violence. 3. Eliminate all harmful practices. 4. Recognizing and appreciating service and work. 5. Ensure that all women can participate fully in political, social, and economic life. The vision of the 5 Sustainable Development Goals is in line with the ongoing process and efforts to achieve gender equality and justice in Indonesia. Minister of Women's Empowerment and Child Protection Igusti Ayu Bintang Puspayoga, however, said that the level of gender equality in Indonesia is still low. This is reflected in the Gender Equality Index released by the United Nations Development Program. Indonesia is ranked 103 out of 162 countries, or the third lowest in Asia, as the referring to other data such as Gender Development Index in Indonesia as of 2018, it is at 90.99. Then the Gender Empowerment Index is at 72.1. The minister mentioned that this reality happening on daily life that currently women are still lagging behind men, both in the fields of education, health, economy, to representation in politics. According to her, gender equality has a direct impact on development equality targets. Gender inequality is increasingly visible during the COVID-19 pandemic. Women, as a vulnerable group who should receive protection, must face various challenges. For example, the burden of being an educator, breadwinner, to the threat of domestic violence. The complexity of realizing gender equality in Indonesia is related to the unequal access to participation and control, as well as opportunities to obtain benefits between women and men. One of them is triggered by patriarchal values and social construction in society. To overcome this problem, the government asks for support from various elements of society, such as women's organizations, the business world, to the media, to help gender equality programs. As an issue related to all aspects of human life, whether in the economic, social, cultural, political, or health fields, gender equality required support from various parties. Gender equality that is successfully implemented will strengthen the economy, politics, and education up to 2 times in a country, especially Indonesia. This is because of the number of women in Indonesia is the same as number of men, or 49.42% compared to 50.58%. So if women become strong, intelligent, and independent, it is certain that the level of welfare of a nation will increase drastically. In addition, according to the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia, Sri Mulyani, the most effective way to promote gender equality in Indonesia is through real examples from leaders, especially women, as role models who have been successful in various fields. In this case, are women who have been successful in fighting for Indonesia independence. Many female role models in Indonesia participated in the struggle for Indonesia independence. One of them was forming an organization that aimed to improve the standard of living of the natives who at that time were continuously undermined by Dutch and Japanese colonialists. One of them is Kartini Funds or Kartini Funds. Kartini Funds is a women's movement organization founded on June 27, 1913 in the city of Hague, Netherlands. This organization aimed to advance the education of indigenous women through a school establishment program. The success of Kartini School education program has had a major impact on the birth of women's movement organization in Indonesia. The Kartini School was able to produce female cadets in various regions who later become the founders of women organizations such as Wanita Taman Siswa, Wanita Utomo, Aisyah, and others. Female role models of independence fighters did not only struggle through organization and education. There are also many female role models who struggle with arms and are active in the military field. One of them is from Aceh, namely Cut Nyak Dien. She fought to defend the freedom of the people of Aceh from Dutch colonial rule. She was on par with other fighters, namely Panglima Polim, Tengku Cikditiro, and his husband Tengku Umar. Cut Nyak Dien fought against the Dutch by means of guerrilla warfare from forest to forest, assisted by the local Acehnese. However, the Dutch finally caught and exiled Cut Nyak Dien to Sumedang, West Java. Apart from those, there are also female role models who struggle to use political channels, namely establishing parties. She was Opu Dayeng Risaju, who came from Palopo, South Sulawesi. Opu Dayeng Risaju was recorded as the first woman to be imprisoned by the Dutch colonial government for political reasons. In becoming an activist ahead of independence, there were also female role models who participated in the struggle to defend independence. She is Rasuna Said, an activist from West Sumatra. In her activities as a propagandist, Rasuna often made speeches in public criticizing the Dutch colonial government. Until Indonesia became independent, Rasuna Said continued to be involved in politics. Women's rights and gender equality are the targets of the Indonesian government, which is continuously struggling for. The struggle to implement gender equality can also be carried out by women holding important positions in the country so that women have a strong and equal position with men. The female role models in the fight for independence are examples where women have strong role models as well as holding the reins of independence. So if women have a mentality like these role models, the gender equality will easily be realized in Indonesia.
How to build gender equality in the workplace?
The gender gap in Indonesia has improved. The 2020 Global Gender Gap Index report stated that there is still a gender gap in the employment sector in Indonesia. The applications of gender equality in the workplace must also be a concern of all parties, including companies. This is because gender equality does not only contribute well to companies, but also to the country's economic growth as a whole. A business consulting firm, Accenture, conducted research entitled Equality Drive Innovations involving 18,000 respondents from 27 countries, including 700 Indonesian respondents. This research has a focus on looking at the impact of culture on the work environment, which drives the development and innovations capabilities of companies. Gender equality is an important key in driving the company's innovation mindset. The results show that Indonesian people already have an awareness of the importance of innovations in the progress of their companies. Indonesia has been able to increase the innovations mindset up to 3 times. There are 76% of employers who have encouraged and enabled employees to be innovative in their daily work. Research has also found that globally, the innovation mindset increases 6 times when diversity is combined with a culture of equality compared to other companies that do not apply these 2 factors. Accenture also stated that if each country increased its innovation mindset by 10%, global gross domestic product could increase to reach $8 trillion by 2028. A culture of equality to promote an innovative mindset is categorized like assertive and open leadership, diverse leadership team able to openly set, share, and measure equality targets. An environment that empowers workers, such as giving employees confidence, respecting each individual, offers flexibility to create, train, and work. Comprehensive measures, implementing policies on family friendliness, supporting the rights of every gender, and not being able to employ and train employees to work flexibly. Of the 3 categories, the main key is an environment that empowers workers to increase the innovation mindset. Examples of this category include easy access to training, a reliable work environment, and leaders or mentors who can help develop employee skills. Other examples include cultivating remote working or work from home, access to corporate training with flexible times and formats, and opportunities to work based on passion and competence. The results of this study also report that factors that support a culture of equality have a greater impact on increasing the innovation mindset than the level of education of each individual. In addition, the culture of politeness and friendliness at work in Indonesia is unique in viewing diversity, so that as the years go by, diversity in Indonesia is also increasingly accepted compared to other countries. A study from McKinsey shows that there are quite large differences between men and women in the workplace. It said women were less likely to be employed in entry-level jobs than men, even though they earn more college degrees and the same transitional level. Likewise, for promotions, only 79 women were promoted to managers compared to every 100 men. This is because it is less likely that women will be hired at the entry level, so fewer women will be eligible for promotion. According to McKinsey, this phenomenon is a vicious circle that will continue if companies do not take special steps towards gender equality. We must admit that the previous presentations about the gender gap still occurs frequently in many companies. To make it better, of course, it takes a lot of effort from all stakeholders or all parties. Here are some ways to build gender equality in the world of work. First, equal salary data from 2019 Indonesian Economic Report states that there is still a wage gap between genders in Indonesia. Indonesian male workers get wage growth of 6.04% per year, while female workers only get 4.96% per year. This causes the wage gap between male workers and female workers in Indonesia to tend to widen. Still in the same report, it is stated that the wage gap is due to several factors such as the perception that women contribute less and the tendency for women to be placed in lower positions. That's why one way to build gender equality at work is to provide a fair salary based on each employee's work experience and performance. Second, changing recruitment strategies to increase gender diversity. How to build gender equality in employment can be started from the recruitment stage. Think about a hiring strategy where you can open up opportunities to a more diverse range of candidates. Avoid gender bias in the language used in job descriptions and job vacancies, as well as in questions asked of candidates. Research states that companies that have higher gender diversity in their employees tend to be more successful. Third, support work flexibility and work-life balance. One of the reasons why women earn less than men is because they often have to sacrifice salary for jobs that offer work flexibility. This is because the demands they face are not only about work but also the responsibility of raising children as a mother. That's why one way to build gender equality in work that companies can do is to support work flexibility and work-life balance for employees. Work flexibility in this case is not only for female employees. This is because male employees sometimes also need it because sometimes they also have to share roles and responsibilities in raising children. Fourth, adopt a strong policy against harassment in the workplace. On average, 1 in 4 women is physically or mentally abused at work. This should be one of the concerns of every company. Implement strict policies to prevent workplace harassment from occurring to any future employees. The company's indifference to act of harassment in the workplace is an indication that the company does not support gender equality at work. Fifth, provide training at leadership level. One way to build gender equality at work is to provide training to the management team on gender equality. Teach them how to identify gender discrimination in the workplace and how to deal with it. This is important not only to help prevent acts of gender discriminations in the workplace, but also to encourage the growth of views on the importance of gender equality in the workplace. 6. Give equal opportunity to female leaders. Gender discriminations in the workplace can be seen from the many stereotypes that view leaders are better held by men. Avoid this and build gender equality in the workplace by providing equal opportunity for every employee to become a leader based on the merits of the candidates, not their gender. Those are some ways to build gender equality in work that deserve your attention. An Atlassian survey on diversity and inclusion revealed that 80% of respondents think diversity and inclusion are important for creating a successful workplace. A diverse and inclusive workforce results in employee engagement, innovation, financial returns, and large market share. The key is diversity and inclusivity. We have discussed about gender equality quite a bit. Let's discuss about some interesting phenomena in the real world related to gender equality.
Ladies parking. Ladies first, are men and women really equal? Or is equality defined differently? We are talking about gender equality, but aside from the woman want to be treated equal, we also see women want to be treated with privilege, which is unequal. For example, ladies first, woman reservation, woman carried it. KRL, how can we call the equality justified then? To be honest, nature has created physical difference between men and women. Men are naturally larger and stronger than women. As a result, women are physically inferior to men. As a result, men are physically superior. Is this to say that nature has clearly designed women as inferior? No, I would say. Because women can give birth, but men cannot. Similarly, men can do many things that women cannot. And women can do things that men cannot. However, there are some categories in which men and women perform equally well. So, where does all of this leave us? Do we conclude that men are superior to women in certain ways, while women are superior to men in others? And that there are some areas in which men and women are mostly equal? I believe I will use the phrase: men and women are complementary to each other. Both cannot exist without the other. Nature made man and woman in such a way that both gender must cohabit for humanity to live. As a result, the gender complement one another. Men and women are equal, but not the same. The idea of sameness suggests that two or more people or things are identical, while equality addresses the fact that two or more people or things are identical in quantity, size, degree, or value. In this case of gender equality, we are talking about men and women being identical in value. Yet is it fair to say that men and women are not the same, identical? We certainly are not physically the same. We are not emotionally the same, and many other areas. We are different, but we are equal in value. In discussion, we often make these two terms, equality and sameness. When women hear men say that women are not the same, they most likely heard that they are not equal. therefore hearing that they are less valued. Men, the other hand, hear from women that they want to be treated as equal. However, filtering that are the same, the cycle goes on, over and over. We are not in sync with our language. To make the issue even worse, women believe that they need to be the same to compete with men. They start to behave in a natural way, unfeminine or more masculine, to keep up with men. Some male leaders support this action, as it is easier to deal with another person, male or female, that is similar to them. After all, we like to hang out with people that are the same as we are. Why ladies first? Because physically they are not as strong as men, and that's why they are given the privilege as a mark of respect, because despite physically weaker compared to men, they are looking for the foothold in outer world. Why women reservation? This is a primitive initiative to uplift the woman's status, as they have long been suppressed by the so-called male-dominated society.
Child-free trends among women versus gender equality. Child-free, these terms had emerged among internet users, starting from Gita Savitri Dewi, YouTuber and writer who stated that she and her husband, Paul Andre, had agreed to be child-free in their marriage. Gita's statement reaps the pros and cons among internet users, not a view who sneered and doubted the decision of Gita. Why? Child-free means choosing to live a household without children, regardless of biological or economic conditions. When a married couple decide to be child-free, it means they are not agree to have children. They don't want children, unlike childless. Childless is conditioned, where a person wants children but cannot have them because of certain biological problems. Such as infertility in 1972, the National Alliance for Optional Parenthood emerged in Palo Alto, California. These organizations aim to promote the idea that people can choose not to have children. This understanding is contrary to the social role and gender identity of women, as someone who will generally become a mother later in her life. This organization serves as a port for group for people who choose to be child-free. Thus, child-free is not something new or strange. Child-free is just one discourse in an effort to uphold gender justice. Gender equity creates a better life for women and girls, because their rights are protected and they have more control over their bodies and lives. In fact, human women and men are free creatures. Just as men are seen as having to be independent and able to make decisions and act for their own good, women are also free to determine their own destiny. Married women can also decide to be child-free, like Gita Savitri, who has discussed it with her husband. Her husband agreed with Gita's choice for child-free. Even abroad, many women have chosen child-free in their lives, such as Oprah Winfrey, Jennifer Aniston, and Renee Zellweger. Child-free is one of the first steps to support gender justice. This child-free understand can actually help reduce stress and depression levels. How many children are born and grow up bearing the burden of being their parents' investment when they are retired and old, even though the child did not ask to be born. Having children is the desire of prospective parents, and not all couples who have children are ready to have children. From a mental and economic perspective, when a woman decides to be child-free and chooses to live alone with her husband, that decision reflects the attitude of a woman who can make decisions for herself. It's not wrong when someone is a pro-natalist or a contra-natalist. What's wrong is when each person imposes his opinion on others, considering pronatalists to be better, more in line with the teachings of their religions, or vice versa. Child-free decisions are actually a personal matter, a matter between the husband and wife who go through it, and not the business of people outside the marriage relationship. In the midst of the increasingly difficult dynamics of life, choosing to live life with a happy heart is more important and more meaningful than being restricted by a social order that suggests that women must have children and become mothers. Without being a mother and having children, women are still themselves who are empowered and valued in the eyes of society.
Gender equality in raising children. As a working mom, I wanted to be a high performer in the workplace. I want to be, but I also want to be an amazing mom. Most of the time, I really couldn't work out how to be both. If I want to be a high performer, I might need to work extra time, leave the office late, and still open my laptop at home. But who will take care of my son? Every evening, I still need to cook for dinner and help him study. This situation is really not helping to establish gender equality in work, because the situation is not supporting women to perform at their best, because women still need to raise their children. Childcare should be every person issue. So women don't just become mothers, people become parents. As men can also try to be at home early to be able to drop off the children or send the child off to school. So we're missing something by not bringing men into this journey with us and be a more present father. So in conclusion, gender equality remains unfinished business in every country of the world. Women and girls have less access to education and healthcare, too often lack economic autonomy, and are underrepresented in decision making at all levels. The progress that have been made towards gender equality over the past quarter of a century, though slow and incremental, does however show that change is possible. Legal reform, strengthening gender-responsive social protection, and public service delivery, quotes for women's representation, and support for women's movement are all strategies that have made a differences and should be scaled up. In the UN Decade of Action to deliver the SDGs, governments, the UN, civil society, and the private sector working together have the potential to transform the lives of women and girls for the benefit of all.
I hope you enjoy our discussion.
Thank you for listening and
See you in our next podcast.